Greetings. I'm Dr. Robert Woods with the Great Books Honors College. In this third and final installment of our orientation tutorials, I'll focus on conversations in our programs, conversations that help every student who is actively engaged in reading the great books and discussing the great books. It will assist them in getting the most out of these experiences. Let's begin with a quote here from Mortimer Adler. All genuine learning is active, not passive. It involves the use of the mind, not just memory. It is a process of discovery in which the student is the main agent, not the teacher. The more there is questioning and discussion, the more enlivened the class hour, and the better the understanding of the subject being taught. Now, of course, for some people, this quote is quite strange. It is striking, as it emphasizes the active nature of learning, and it emphasizes the student as a part of the learning process, as the center of the learning process, the most significant part. And we'll go on to another quote and see why conversation is so important. Walter Ong says, "In conversation, we form the interpersonal ties that bind individuals together in personal relationships." While lectures can be quite helpful, and I'll mention the role that they play within our programs, the truth is that lectures, as they are typically done, convey data, information, and the personality of the professor. They do not create this interpersonal dynamic that occurs in a conversation. And when you have entire programs, as we do within the Great Books Honors College, that focus on conversation, we can see that there is a kind of unity and a formation of a unique community that occurs within our program. Marion Montgomery says, "Developing one's ear and tongue to value meaning is what we call education." And what is unique about this particular quote from the distinguished scholar is the role in which the ear and tongue, that is hearing and speaking, play in understanding, and the role that these organs from God, the place that they play in our coming to know within a community of those who converse. Let's begin with a couple of negatives, some negatives on what a conversation is not. First and foremost, and we hope that you do not ever experience this in our programs, whether it be in our certificate program or whether it be in the bachelor's, the master's, the PhD, or on-site Great Books Honors College, that you come to see that when we gather together, having read the material, it is time for us to converse, for us to exchange ideas and to think together out loud. We do have occasion for lectures. Our Google Apps for Education using slides, Google Slides, and this particular tool here, MoveNote, podcasts, or links to other lectures on YouTube or on the internet is very acceptable in our program as part of the educational experience, but it is not what occurs when a conversation takes place. And there are several people involved in learning together what a writing means. A conversation in this program is not an opportunity for the tutor or student to pontificate. We urge everyone, all students and all instructors, to avoid digressions, elaborations, and extended diatribes where he or she can wax eloquently on what they think is important. And that leads directly to the next point. A conversation is not an opportunity for any tutor or any student to simply wax eloquently about all of their knowledge. We're being rude to the reading material and to one another if we neglect the opportunities we have to speak and listen to each other. A conversation is also not personal story time. Personal anecdotes and life experiences are of value and indeed part of the educational process, and they may have a place, but must be avoided in the group conversations and threaded discussions. There will be less formal opportunities for students to get to know one another better, even in our online programs and certainly in our on-site programs. Students will have those occasions for less formal interaction. But the conversation, as learning experience, is not the place for personal storytelling. And that leads me to the final major point, and that is this. For years, people who look at the Great Books Honors College from the outside think that all that we do is read works of literature or philosophy, political essays, or whatever it may be, and we sit around and share our opinions. We tell about our families and our ideas and our feelings about these works. That is very far from the truth. A conversationist program is not sharing time. It is not times where we talk about our spouses and our children and our grandchildren, where we're from, our favorite football team, our favorite sport, our personal life experiences. Now, they may all be important and they may endear people to one another, but they are to be avoided as part of the academic enterprise in our online and on-site conversations. There are times and places for this very important type of exchange, but it is not during a conversation. Here's a brief anecdote, since this is a lecture and not a conversation. I remember having a student a few years ago in one of our on-site programs tell us how frustrated she was in one of her courses, and she was talking about a professor saying how much he clearly loved the sound of his own voice, and he loved to talk about himself. And she even said to a small group of us after class, she says, I know all about his favorite foods, what are his likes and dislikes, I know all about his family members, I know all about all kinds of things related to this person, but I did not learn a single thing about, and she named the academic discipline. And then she concluded her time with us by saying, too bad that on the test he didn't ask me about how cute his granddaughter was, because I could have aced that question. And this is shameful. This is sad. This is not what an academic course of instruction should be about. We've said this in a number of places and will continue to stress this, that in a class, the two top priorities, one is the reading that is in front of us for us to talk about together, and then two, the students who are there to learn, to think, to converse, to speak out loud their ideas and their understandings, and to share those and have others agree or disagree with them. Well, let's spend a few moments now then talking positively about what characterizes a great conversation. First and foremost, everyone comes to the discussion having read the assigned material. This cannot be stressed enough. Let's imagine, by way of analogy, that someone in a small group starts talking about a blockbuster hit from the past summer, or maybe a television show that's a favorite of those sitting around discussing this. If you have not watched the movie, or if you've not seen the television show, you cannot speak intelligently about the movie or TV show. And sadly, it excludes you immediately. And this is what happens when it comes to reading, being prepared for coming to a class. If you've read before you come to a class session or a conversational session, even if you do not understand what you've read, and that actually is ideal, you've not understood what you've read, then you are ready for a conversation. Next, everyone has marked up the reading thoughtfully. Now, if you are using an e-reader, you certainly are going to want to take notes in a notebook and bring those with you to the conversation. Third, everyone is prepared to appropriately share with others, disagree respectfully, and affirm in a fitting manner. And this happens marvelously within the various programs in the Great Books Honors College. All participants are mindful of listening in an attentive manner so as to participate in a most meaningful manner. The truth is, the better you become at listening, the better you will become at speaking and at conversing. Another characteristic of great conversations is the idea of being clear and strong in your own convictions, but open to adjusting your position. It's been said that the single greatest hindrance to learning is knowledge. If we know that we know something and we are so certain of it that we could not be wrong, and our views or our readings of a particular document are completely right, then we will not be able to converse in a meaningful manner and learn more. Another characteristic of a great conversation is be certain that all distractions are removed from your immediate presence. In our on-site programs, we have students turn off their phones, we have students turn off Their tablets, unless there are those moments where we're using a laptop or a tablet, we have them turn them off and remove them entirely. For our on-site programs, our online programs, we ask that you do this. Make certain that those things are also off, where we use the medium of online tools such as Google plus Hangouts to be able to talk to each other. But make sure other tools are off. They're not going to distract you. And make certain that your environment is not a distraction to you or to other people. Be willing to ask for others to clarify and qualify their thoughts to assist you in your understanding. All too often when someone will ask an interpretive question, people want to immediately jump in and start answering it. What we should do is listen carefully to the question, think through it, and see if we need something to be clarified or qualified. And remember, and this is the most important thing, charity. That is the Christian virtue of love above all other virtues will best assist us in this collaborative effort of obtaining understanding and wisdom together. And you will see that you also grow in other virtues such as patience and kindness and gentleness if you approach these great conversations with this spirit. Let's conclude with a quote from Truman Capote, who says this: "A conversation is a dialogue, not a monologue. That is why there are so few good conversations. Due to scarcity, two intelligent talkers seldom meet." I want to give you some of the greatest news you'll ever hear. In our programs in the Great Books Honors College, you will meet many intelligent people, and you will be blessed by countless hours of rich and enriching conversations with each other about the great books and the great ideas. We look forward to seeing you in class.